Hi, YouTube. Thank you for joining me today. I am super, super excited to be here. Hello, Rich. Thank you for joining us today. Really, really appreciate it. And then, hello, Live Panic. Thank you for joining us. So today I had some major technical difficulties, and when I was on my correct browser, my picture was just flashing constantly. So then I went to a different browser, and then I couldn't share all of the screens that I had planned to share, right? So I like 10 minutes ago was like, okay, I can't do the video I had planned because I have like six screens I need to share and they're not showing up. So then I randomly had this Rich DeVos speech in my anti-MLM playlist on my YouTube. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just do this one. I was already planning on listening to it and doing a video on it anyways. To be honest, I listened to like 10 minutes of it and it seems like it'll be interesting to react to, but I hope it's interesting. So let me know what you guys think. It's called Atmosphere, Attitude, and Action by Rich DeVos. I listened to about 10 minutes and it seems interesting so far. And it seems like I'll have things to talk about, but it's pretty much a blind reaction because 10 minutes ago I was having major technical difficulties. So I'm very, very sorry about that. And because the sharing is not working, I'm just going to leave the YouTube video up beside me the whole time so my computer doesn't just like crap out. But I'm going to get started and I hope you guys enjoy it. Sorry, and it looks like they are in China, and it's shortly after China or Amway opened in China, which was in 1995. So I'm assuming this is probably like early 2000s or late 1990s.
各位朋友，有请美国安利公司创办人理查·迪维士先生。One, two, three, down.
Remember in the last Rich DeVos video we saw, he was really rude too. He's like, now you all need to sit down. It's like, why are you being rude? Like, these people are cheering for you for some reason. Wouldn't you just like enjoy yourself if all those people are cheering for you? And my understanding is that this is an Amway conference in China, and there's so much music in the background. So let me know if it's like way too loud and I need to turn it down, or if it's too quiet or whatever. But he's just like telling a normal ass story, and there's like lovely inspirational music in the background that doesn't really match what he's saying. In my opinion, of course, it's just to like draw on your emotions and help you make you feel like you are surrounded by like-minded people, and that all those people have the same mission and value and goals as you do.
Thank you for that very warm welcome and the wonder of being here with all of you. We have been sitting in the back room watching the show and enjoying it very much. We have been here 2 days, and it seems like I've been here a week because I've seen so many wonderful things. To say nothing of your beautiful...
The video is kind of crappy, like the quality, but there's a shit ton of people in this conference. Look, these colors are people, and then all up there is people as well.
Sitting in your beautiful country, and the warm welcome that we have all received. Our thanks to all of you. Ten years ago, Eva said, let's go to China. And we said, let's go.
10 years ago. They opened in 1995. So this was 2005. What does Gary say? He is so charismatic. Not. Yeah, in the last video I did of him, a lot of people were saying like he's really dry and like at least he's not screaming in our faces, but he's also not very engaging in my opinion. So hopefully this video is not super boring.
Because of her leadership and her strength and her willingness to take on this great challenge, we are very grateful to her and to all of our management leadership here. And Helen and I enjoyed listening to your field leadership, the people who took the challenge and ran with it when we first came to China, and have risen to levels of great leadership today. Thank you. We're proud of you.
What in the world is this music? He's like, thank you for doing your job. And then there's like, I don't even know how you would describe that music. That's the weirdest thing ever. So he was thanking the people in China who are like in the company and who rose to great challenges. But we all know if you are one of the first people in an MLM in your specific country, you're going to have a lot easier of a time. It's kind of like the company's brand new, right? Like when Monate moved to Australia or when it's going to be in New Zealand, no one in that country is doing it yet, right? And so all of your friends, all of your family, all of your coworkers are not in the company and are potential prospects. And so if someone he said 10 years ago they opened in China. So someone in China joining Amway now is most likely not going to find that level of success, in my opinion.
You fought the good fight. You kept to the job, and you never lost faith, despite the hardships and difficulties you had to overcome. Thank you. But they give me an opportunity to give a little talk about 3 specific steps that you go through in the process of life. We all talk about doing the right thing and taking the action and moving forward. But before you do that, you have to have the right attitude so that you can make those decisions to go forward. But a good attitude comes from having a good atmosphere, or the things that surround you and encourage you. When you control your atmosphere, then you will begin to have the attitude and take the appropriate actions. Jay Van Andel and I grew up in an atmosphere of encouragement, which we received at home and in our schooling. And it was in that setting that we developed a strong faith. Not only a strong faith, but a faith in our ability to move forward with the encouragement we receive from our parents and others. I share this with you because I want to make sure you put yourself in the right atmosphere so that you will have the right attitude and take the right decisions.
I wanted to let him talk for a little bit because attitude and atmosphere is such a huge thing in the MLM industry. Sorry, Live Panic said he wasted no time getting culty. Exactly, Live Panic. And then Rich says, very emotional appeal, lots of grandiose verbiage, but very thin on actual info. Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to let him get through that because he was saying that our atmosphere impacts our attitude, right? And atmosphere is in an MLM context as the people around you, right? Like your spouse, your friends, your family, your coworkers, your grandma, like anyone who's around you. And we've heard Eric Worre, who would say something like he's like weeding the garden. You have to have people around you who are supportive of your goals in your MLM, and anyone who questions you a little bit, anyone who is worried about you being in this business structure, they are trying to tear you down, right? They are trying to limit your potential, and he's not saying this in this video, but we hear Ray Higdon in the last stream say something like, if you aren't living big, if you aren't doing something important, you are not going to receive hate. So it's always described as hate. And people in the MLM industry really want us to create an echo chamber where we're only around people who think the same things we do about our MLM and who won't question it, won't question us, won't question the ideology of our MLM company. I had something else in my head too, but I don't remember what it was. Yeah, and anyone who disagrees with us is toxic and is negative, even if it's your spouse who's just trying to protect you. Oh, and then there's a big narrative about how you are going to be the average of the 5 people you hang out with. That's a big part of your atmosphere, right? And so you need to be around people who will push you to meet your goals and who will push you to be better, right? And so, with that statement, for me, I don't work in retail, right? I work in like writing and research, and so that means that I can't be best friends with someone who say like works in Old Navy, works in McDonald's or like the food industry because they're not pushing me to be better. Why do our friends need to have a purpose? Why can't we just have our friend because we like them and they're nice to us and we have fun with them? In MLM, people are taught to treat everyone like an object and to always have always have a purpose for every single person in our life instead of just I like their company. Who cares what they do? Who cares if they're unemployed, struggling financially? That doesn't matter. The idea is that if we hang out with people who are unemployed or who are struggling financially, then that means that we are also going to be unemployed too. What do you think about that? That was a bit of a ramble.
The atmosphere is what you do as to who you surround yourself with, the kind of friends you have, and the ability to put yourself in the presence of like-minded people. Most of us
Why, sir? Why do we need to be around like-minded people? Why can't we be around people who maybe like have different thoughts than us, but we can sit there and have a reasonable debate with them and say we can learn things about other perspectives or people who are of have like different religious backgrounds than us, and then they can teach us about their religious beliefs or their cultural practices or someone who might have a different political ideology as us. And as long as they're respectful of ours, why can't we be around people who have different thoughts and ways of life as than we do, and we can learn from them and become better, more well-rounded adults? So I don't really understand that. And I do because we need to create an echo chamber, but I don't think that's a good way to live because it always assumes that the way I am right now, my personality, what I do for work, how I treat people is the only way to go, and I can't improve or learn from other people.
oftentimes have grown up in the midst of people who complain and think about what they cannot do instead of being in the presence of people thinking about what they can do. And that's why when you join the world of Amway, you put yourself in the presence of people who think about what they can do and think about how to achieve more. And because of those simple acts, you begin to do things and achieve things way beyond what you ever thought you could do. You become surrounded by people who say, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. My father, when I was young,
So if we just believe in ourselves, we surround ourselves by people who believe in us too, then we can achieve anything we want in our Amway business, even though Amways are a pyramid scheme, even though in all MLMs anywhere, only a tiny, tiny proportion of people at the top of the pyramid actually make any money. Because if everyone made money in a pyramid, in an MLM, it wouldn't be a pyramid, it would be like a square, right? It's impossible for us to have a pyramid without people on the bottom. So, no, Rich DeVos, sir, there's no way for every single 1 million distributors in Amway to make lots of money because then the system would fall apart. Sorry, I'm actually going to let him talk for a second.
always used that phrase. He said, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And that became a part of my byword for life. And that doesn't just apply to the Amway business, it applies to your total life and how you feel about your country and how you believe that you and your country can do greater things. And you begin to see the potential for China and for the people who live in China and how you can help them lift themselves up to higher levels of achievement.
So Rich had a comment. Let's just read that first. He's also modeling exterior control. The idea is that you will succumb to what others tell you. Your self-determination isn't part of the conversation. Oh, that's a good point. So do you mean like if people around us are negative, we are automatically also going to be negative and we're automatically not going to join Amway because or say our father doesn't want us to, and he's not assuming that we have like the autonomy and the intelligence to make our own decision? Is that what you mean? So I had a point in my head and I don't remember what it was, and I'm really sorry. So we're going to press play and then hopefully I'll remember.
And then you begin to lift up others, and together you lift.
Okay, I remember. So I think this kind of what he's saying is reminding me of the idea of like you just need to apply yourself, work hard, be focused and sacrifice, and then you can lift yourself up by the bootstraps, and then you will automatically find success in whatever you decide to do. Rich said, no, it is the idea that you will follow what you were told to do. Okay, thank you for clarifying. That makes sense. And so in MLM, in free enterprise systems, which is what Rich DeVos like to push for Amway, it's really you have to focus on like we have the ability to control everything in our lives. And if we just aren't negative and we are focusing on the positive and what we can do, not what we can't do, then we will find success and it's all up to us. And we don't require outside help to do so. I'm watching my blur my background and it's crazy. Like it is all in my ponytail. I don't know why. I don't know why it's being weird. So sorry about that. Hopefully my face isn't like covered in a blur right now.
Lift up each other, and together you lift up your country as well. While you're all doing that, you lift yourself up to higher levels, and your life becomes fuller and richer, and you can share love with the people around you.
So it's like the idea that your life can't be full and rich as if you're not in Amway, and the only way that you can lift up people around you and make a big impact is if you're in the MLM, because we know that MLMs are the answers to every person's problem all everywhere across the world all the time, and we don't have any of our own autonomy to change our lives in the way that we want to change them.
So it is up to each of us to find ways to lift up the people around us, and I want to give you some phrases to use to do that. And just like my father planted that thought in my head, you can put that thought in your head and in others as well. But one of the first phrases you have to learn is to say, I'm wrong and I'm sorry. Because you see, we all make mistakes. And when we do, instead of defending ourselves, just say, I'm wrong and I'm sorry. And you'll be surprised how much easier it is to get along with each other when you learn to say that. It seems like a simple phrase, but I remember one night when Douglas came home later than he was supposed to. We had rules in our house that said, you will be home by a certain hour. And one night he came home later than that appointed hour, and I was up waiting for him. But Doug had heard me give that speech and talk about saying I'm wrong and I'm sorry. So when he came through the door, his first words were, hi, Dad, I'm wrong and I'm sorry. Now, what do you say when somebody says that, except to say, I love you?
I'm not really positive as to why or how the I'm wrong and I'm sorry thing applies in an MLM. Maybe that's like they're wanting the spouses of the Amway distributors to say I'm wrong and I'm sorry if they are like negative towards the business. Just fixing my camera, it's super weird. If they're like negative towards the business at all, and that's directed to the spouses. But I'm not really getting the point about like how an Amway distributor would use that. Maybe if their spouse is like upset with them about how they're acting within the company and how it's affecting their relationship or like the time with their children, maybe they want the distributor to say I'm wrong and I'm sorry. I don't really understand how it works in the Amway context. Of course, in just the life context, if you're wrong and you hurt someone's feelings, you should say that. Even if you didn't mean to, you should acknowledge that you like hurt someone's feelings and apologize. But what do you guys think about that within the Amway context? So Lift Panic said, do you suppose this crap is what those thousands of people came to hear? I really wonder. Maybe or maybe not, right? Because in Amway, Rich DeVos and Van Andel were like, I think in my first ever Amway video, the guy from 60 Minutes said that the gospel singers of MLM. And so maybe in my brain, maybe it doesn't really matter what they say at these conferences, as long as it's DeVos or Van Andel or even their kids, then maybe it doesn't really matter. And maybe the people will just like eat it up anyways, even if it doesn't actually have any value to them. And in the last DeVos video I did, I questioned why these people aren't actually getting business advice at this meeting. Why is it useless self-help, motivational stuff that doesn't actually give us tangible tools to expand our business in China? I wish it was these kinds of conferences that you came to and you got tangible pieces of advice that you could go away and apply to your business. Rich says, well, they just happen to be the ones who have the secret to success, and it just so happens willing to sell it to you. Yeah, these events are portrayed as like you have to go to it, and if you don't, you're not going to have success, right? And so these people were strongly encouraged / pressured to come to this event from their uplines because it's, as Rich said, the secret to your success in your Amway business. And so maybe these people are thinking that they have to listen to this or else they're not going to be successful because it's the founder and they have to listen to what the founder says.
If you will learn that phrase when you make a mistake, you will find you get along with each other much better. Well, then move to the positive side and learn another phrase. That phrase is, I respect you.
Liv Panic says, every time I see that blonde, I wonder if it's Betsy DeVos. Pretty sure that's their kid. Betsy DeVos is their kid. I will double check that because my husband said the same thing. He's like, is that Betsy DeVos? And I'm pretty sure like she's part of the family. So I can't do it on my computer right now because of my technical difficulties. But while it's playing, I will confirm that for you.
Everybody wants respect, and some people try to demand respect and saying, you will respect me. But I have found the only way to get respect is to show respect. I once had a captain on one of the Amway boats, and he told me how he demanded.
So yeah, Rich said yes, it is. Yes. So yeah, the Betsy DeVos is part of this family, and Liv Panic said she married into the DeVos family in 1979. Great question, great question, Liv Panic.
Demanded respect from his crew. But when I talked to the crew, I found out they did not respect him at all. And the reason for that is that he did not show respect to them. So as you move through your life, learn to show respect to others, and then they will in turn respect you. I want you to know that we respect in every sense of the word.
No, you don't, sir. If you did, you'd pay them an hourly wage or like at least a minimum wage where they could kind of provide for their families, and then they would get extra commissions on top of that. So that's false, sir. So he said, you have to respect people and then they'll respect you back. I think in the context of this, it could be insinuating that as long as you say your spouse or your friends are questioning you being in the Amway business, and as long as you show respect and kindness to them, they will eventually turn around and respect what you're doing in the business. And that's the way that you can like get them on your side. What do you guys think about this? He keeps saying different sayings that make sense in the general day-to-day life. Of course, you got to respect others. And of course, all these people are just cheering and clapping, even though like this is just basic common sense. Respect others. And if you do something bad, you have to apologize and say you're wrong. That's pretty basic. What does Gary say? Oh my God, I can't talk today. I'm so sorry. Betsy DeVos is a Trumpist grifter at the highest echelon. Sorry, she was in Trump's cabinet. She is obscenely wealthy and continued to line her pockets while in public service. Thank you. Woo. Barnum phrases. What does that mean? Can you let us know? I would look it up, but my computer's messed up. So this is after the part that I actually listened to. So hopefully there's some valuable stuff in here.
We are just overwhelmed by what you have achieved, and our respect for you is overwhelming. And I hope that we can earn your respect by how we conduct ourselves and how we handle ourselves in every situation as an organization. That when you have a question about what's right or wrong, that when you call the company and ask them, they will give you an honest answer so that you can respect the answer that you get from us.
That's pretty minimal. Why is that something that's like brilliant and exciting? Barnum phrases, circus, hyper. I don't know what that. I don't know how to say that word. Can you explain that? Oh my God, I'm not knowing anything today. I'm sorry. I failed today. So why is it so amazing that the company is going to answer your questions if you call them? I think that's the least they could do, because they have a million people who are volunteer sales force who are paying Amway for the privilege of selling their products and recruiting others and making them billions of dollars. Amway is a multi-billion-dollar company. I think the least that the company can do is answer their questions and make sure they know what they're supposed to do. What do you guys think about that? I think that's pretty outrageous.
In the 55 years that I have been in this business, which is all of my adult life, I have seen over 1,000 companies come and try to duplicate or copy the Amway plan. All of them telling us and telling you that they were as good or as we were. But I cannot recall any one of them which is still in business today. And today there are people coming to you and trying to lure you away from Amway. And I can only encourage you to stay, because in this company, we will be here and we will respect you and we will be worthy of your respect.
So Gary explained what the word meant, false promises. Okay, thank you. Sorry. MLM is covered in false promises. We know that. Like false promises of financial freedom, of time freedom, of retiring your spouse, building a beautiful home from scratch, living out your wildest dreams, when the people at the top of these companies know that 99% of people in their downline are barely making any money and are actually going into debt so they can continue to be rich. So thank you for clarifying that word. And I think, Rich, it's very, very relevant to what's going on now, of course, because as long as we just keep pushing and we are and we are focused and we sacrifice, we're going to find success. Barnum phrases are those that sound specific to the individual but are actually widely applicable. Interesting. And used to manipulate. Thank you. So he was telling us just now that people will try to lure us away from Amway, and we need to stay in Amway because the company loves us and the company respects us. And in the first Amway video I did, we heard Dexter Yeager say that people who don't agree with Amway are negative dream stealers. And unfortunately, someone actually left a comment on one of my videos saying that their dad was in Amway for years, and the person told me that the dad said that they were a negative dream stealer because they were questioning Amway and they didn't talk to their dad for a whole year. And it's just so sad because there's probably thousands and thousands of stories like that where wedges are put between close family members and loved ones because people hear things like what Rich DeVos is saying, but their family members are luring them away, or they'll hear Dexter Yeager calling their family members negative dream stealers. And these men are put on such high pedestals and they're idolized and revered and they're celebrities. And it's undue influence, it's manipulation, like Rich just said. It's like what Rich just said. People think that these people are talking directly to them and that they're referring to their own family members who are trying to lure them away. So it's a way to really just manipulate and change people's thought patterns and change how they communicate with their family members. And it's so, so, so sad that Amway puts wedges between the thousands and thousands of family members and marriages, and very, very sad.
We stand behind what we say, we mean what we say, and we will assure you that we will keep our promises. Let me give you one more phrase, and maybe two more. The next phrase, I want you to make these phrases a part of your daily dialogue so you learn to say them to your children as well. I use these phrases all the time with our children and our grandchildren. The next phrase is,
The grandchildren of Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel are what's called G3, and I want to do a video on that at some point. And a lot of them are young; they're in like their 20s to say their 40s ish, and they also have a role in Amway. And just like Steve and Doug, who are supposed to do a video on today, they grew up in Amway and have spent their whole lives in Amway. And Doug DeVos, he was actually the son of this man. He was actually in Amway in some capacity since he was 22. And then Steve Van Andel was 25. So they're young people who haven't had much life experience yet, who don't actually have fully developed brains yet. Well, Steve technically did because he was 25, but they were part of Amway before they had the ability to actually comprehend and make a critical decision about the efficacy of Amway, the morality of Amway, and the MLM business structure. And I have the same opinion of the G3 people, the grandchildren of the two founders, because they're so young and they grew up in the system and they really, really don't know anything else.
Just as you know, I'm proud of all of you. You have to learn to say that to each other, to your people who are your partners and your associates. And you do it with your friends and your neighbors. When you see them doing good things, you learn to say, I'm proud of you. I once had a man who picked up the trash and the garbage around our house. And he came through the neighborhood early in the morning, but he always came very quietly. And one morning I got up early to tell him how proud I was of him for the wonderful job he did.
I feel like that's kind of weird. Instead of just saying to someone, thank you for doing a good job, you say, I'm proud of you for picking up the garbage like it's your job description. I know what he's saying because we know that recognition and positive reinforcement is such a big thing in the MLM business structure. It's even one of Beachbody's vital behaviors, recognition. And I think in the Amway context, it's more they want their downline, the uplines to tell their downlines that they're proud of them and to give them positive reinforcement and encouragement. And it's just, I've said this 1,000 times, it's just a way to to distract someone from the fact that they're not making any money and that they are probably most likely being mistreated by their downline and or by their upline, and maybe they feel like the activities that they have to participate in Amway really just like it goes against their moral compass and they don't want to do it, but then they have an upline who's praising every single little thing that they do all the time, and it just like makes them want to continue to get that kind of positive reinforcement because a lot of people don't get that at work. People might not get that at home if they don't have a loving relationship. They might not get that from friends, and people like that may be extra lonely and isolated, and they may be craving that kind of attention. What do you think? Liv Panic says that story makes me uncomfortable, right? Like, do you think that's weird to say, I'm proud of you? I understand saying, thank you. I appreciate you. You're doing a good job. But to say, I'm proud of you, I feel like that's kind of weird, right? Liv Panic says, if I was going to talk to the guy that picks up my trash, I might say, thank you. Yeah. But not, I'm proud of you, right? Right? That's weird. I think like if it's your children and they do something that like makes them nervous, or your spouse like has a good first day at work or something and they're really nervous about it, of course be like, I'm proud of you. You did something you were nervous to do and you did a good job, right? Like in that case that's fine, but I feel like that's weird when you don't know the person and they're just doing their job. What do you think?
And he said to me, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years and no one has ever told me that.
So 20 years of his job and no one has ever even just said thank you to him. So a lot of people crave that.
You know, there are many people around you that make your life easier and make your life better who need to hear a word like that. And especially to your children. One more phrase. I believe in you. I believe in you. That is why we came to China, because we believed in you. We believed the people in China had the ability to lift themselves up in this business.
They did not come to China because they believe in the Chinese people. They came to China because they saw an opportunity of a country of, well, I don't know how many people, a billion people say, and they saw that they had a really great opportunity with the market to make more money and to have even more business partner or distributors. And so I hate that. I hate that kind of narrative because someone sitting in the crowd might say, "Oh, he believes in me. Rich DeVos believes in me. I have to believe in myself because why would he believe in me, right? Of course I'm going to be successful." When it's so manipulative. Maybe this is where the modern day MLM distributors get their manipulation from, right? Because you have this man telling you, "I believe in you. I think you can do it," and he's talking all grandly, and there's like music, and everyone's clapping, and it's manipulative, it's deceitful, and I don't like it. I wish that, of course, he would never say this, but I wish he'd say, we came to China because of the size of the population and we saw an opportunity to make more money.
There are many people in this world and in this country who have doubts about their ability and what they can do And for you to say, I believe that you can do it, would be a big boost in their life. We came to China to remind you that we believe in you. And one more. And the one more is that I love you.
Ew, no, you don't. You don't know these people. I can't stand it when people in MLMs with like 10,000 people in their downline or people like Rich DeVos stand there in front of all these people and say, I love you. And I think I said something like this in the last video of him when he was saying, you can all be part of our family. But that really preys on people who don't have genuine family connections and who don't have the genuine love of a family member. And then he's sitting there saying, I love you. What if you're lonely? Maybe you're experiencing challenges with depression and you don't have someone telling you that they love you. And then you hear someone rich and fancy like Rich DeVos saying that. And that kind of narrative may keep you in the system for longer. What do you guys think about that? I had not heard this part, and that makes me upset because it's very, very manipulative, in my opinion. Rich said something. That's supposed to be profound. The front row should be wearing protective clothing to save them from the BS being flung from the stage. I agree. People in MLMs and top distributors and CEOs like to think that what they're saying is very profound, is very meaningful, and no one else in the world has ever said it before. But what he's saying is like it's basic. He's saying tell people you're proud of them, have a good atmosphere, have a good attitude, and I love you. Like it's all common sense, except for the last part that's extremely, extremely manipulative. But this is all common sense shit. Like it's not anything groundbreaking, but all of these, I don't know, 40,000 people, 30,000 people are just clapping and cheering because it's Rich DeVos, and whatever Rich DeVos says is gold, is magic. We're almost done.
Some of you know that when I write a little note, as I often do, I always sign my little notes with the expression, love you. And even if I write the President of the United States, I still do it. And the world needs more love between our countries and between each other.
Even when he writes the President of the United States, he signs it, love ya. Sir, why are you writing the President of the United States? It seems weird that the CEO of an MLM company is like besties with the president.
So add that phrase to your list. So I would end by reminding you that sometimes we're wrong. And I'm sorry. And that I'm proud of you. And that I believe in you. And that we respect you. That we love you. Thank you.
You don't respect these people or else you would pay them, sir, and you know that. So I'm going to attempt to stop sharing and we'll see what happens. Ooh, it worked. Okay. I hope you could actually like see it and hear everything okay, and that like you could enjoy the video still. So I am glad that this video was interesting, and like there was lots of stuff to talk about because I really did not know. So he wants us to have a good attitude. Of course, you can never be negative in an MLM, and our atmosphere impacts our attitude. So we need to surround ourselves by people who are like-minded and people who are going to push us to be better at all times. And Rich DeVos at this point, billionaire, he loves us. He loves us. It's not that he just wants us to make him more money. He truly loves us and he's truly proud of us. I think so manipulative, really preying on people who are lonely, who are sad, and who really need human connection. Gary says, raise that praise to your lips. Very biblical. Yeah, there's a big Christian Christian ideology underlining all of Amway's talks. So that's all I have for today. I hope you guys liked it. I'm glad that this video was relatively interesting despite me only listening to a tiny, tiny portion of it. And I want to go live again, not until Sunday. I'll post a video on Friday, then I want to go live on Sunday. And if I can get the technical issues figured out, I want to do the video that I had planned for today because I was really excited about that video. Or I'll do a Fraser Brooks video because I haven't done Fraser in a while and I've never done a live video, a live reaction to Fraser Brooks. So you can watch out for that. And if you're able to, it'd be fun if you could join me live on Sunday. So thank you, Rich. Thank you, Lip Panic. Thank you, Gary, for watching live and for leaving comments. And thank you to anyone who will watch later and leave comments. And I hope you liked it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.